Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will talk about my worst airport experience. It was an experience that I can never forget. It was at Zurich International Airport. I went from Nigeria through Germany, through Frankfurt to Switzerland. Actually, it was a conference in Basel, but I went through Zurich because I had a friend who lived in Zurich. Like I told us, I had a scholarship from Swiss government for a study in University of Basel, and I met this, crop of international students. We became friends, and so this particular visit, I decided to go through Zurich so I could spend some time with them, and then go for my conference in Basel, and come back through Zurich to go. It was a beautiful time. I enjoyed my time with them. But it ended up sour. So I traveled through Frankfurt to Zurich, and of course we trained to Basel. And when I finished my program in Basel, I came back to my friend's house, spent a night or two. Yeah, we had some fun going for games and stuff like that. And I was headed out to go. And at the airport, you cannot believe it, the airline attendant said to me that I'm not eligible to board the flight back to Nigeria. I couldn't understand what she was saying. I was lucky. My friend came with me, a German, so a Swiss, and she speaks German. So the airline hostess insisted on not checking me in. And I thought it's something we could explain. The story became so long that eventually I spent extra 3 days in Switzerland before I was able to go back to Nigeria. It wasn't funny. First she said, I cannot fly through Frankfurt. How? I came through Frankfurt. So how is it that I cannot fly through Frankfurt? She said, I cannot because I don't have Schengen visa. I did not need a Schengen visa to travel through Frankfurt. On the website, it's very clear that if your flight is less than 24 hours, you can transit. And she insisted. And before I knew it, she also said, that my passport was expired. That was not true. And before I realized what was happening, the flight was gone. And she insisted, call your supervisor. She wasn't calling her supervisor. I was completely confused. I was already crying. I couldn't understand that. The saving grace was that I had my friend, the Swiss lady with me. I can't thank God enough for her. So we had to go back to her house to re-strategize. While this was happening, I was calling my husband, who was the one that bought the ticket directly from the airline in Nigeria. He went to the airline office. Airline in Nigeria did not understand what they were talking. The lady in Zurich airport refused to take their calls, and it was a bad situation. It actually got so bad because I didn't have more money. I think I only had 20 euro. You know how it is. You have finished buying all the gifts and so on, hoping that you just hop into the plane and that's it. And I didn't have money. Ended up calling Nigeria embassy in Switzerland. I had to travel from Zurich to Bern, which is a distance to their office, because that happened to be the last resort. So I went there, I borrowed money from my friend. You see what I mean? Guys, I will have advice for you. Next time when you're traveling, don't spend all your money. You never know what will happen. I borrowed money, took a train, go there the next day, because by the time we finished the airport hassles, it was already past work hours. So I went there the next day, and by the time I saw the consular that attended to me, she couldn't understand my story and their story. We called the German embassy. German embassy did not understand why someone would say that I cannot transit through Frankfurt. And we called the airline. It was a total mess. But 3 days of emotional turmoil. Guys, I told myself, when I got back to Nigeria, I told myself I will never go abroad again. But you know how it is. I have gone many times, maybe more than 100 times ever since. But it was very traumatic. And it's an experience I don't want any one of us to have. And that's why I'm sharing this experience. Now, the consular officer told me, because by the time I met the consular officer in Nigerian High Commission in Bern and was trying to explain myself, I busted out in tears again. And she said, you see, you were crying for with them. Why were you crying when you had not committed any crime? She also said something that was not funny then. She said, why are they refusing someone who wants to go home? Access to going home. I thought they refused people to come, not to go home. But the saving grace was that they had to give me a letter to mandate them to allow me for the flight. That was what happened. I eventually went home. Eventually, the airline had to apologize and compensate me with a free ticket. But you see, those free tickets are never enough to take care of the trauma that you sometimes expose yourself traveling through this airport. So you need to be prepared. You need to have full information. What is allowed? Go to those websites. Yes, it was a bad situation that this lady who was attending to me does not understand the regulations of the airline or the countries in question. Unfortunately, you may encounter them. She also insisted on not inviting her supervisors into the conversation, and it was difficult. But then, arm yourself, be ready. My next experience after that, as soon as the airline officer started, oh my God, I was ready. I wasn't crying. I guess crying sometimes confuses a lot of things. So learn how not to cry. Don't use emotion. Don't become emotional. Tackle your situation head on. Crying may not solve your problem. So it's good you compose yourself. I'm sharing the lessons I learned. Compose yourself and discuss your matter. Don't confuse the matter with the emotion. No matter how emotional you want to get, don't. Because going through immigration, going through border control, you will encounter things. Sometimes they pull you out of line to search you, and it could be very harassing. Don't cry. The other one is, don't spend all your money. I had only 20 euro. And of course, 20 euro can never sustain me in that country for 3 days. Assuming I didn't have a friend to stay with, I would have needed money for hotel. I would have needed money to transport myself up and down. I had to borrow money from her to travel from Zurich to Bern, which is a lot of money. So don't spend all your money. Again, the other thing is that maybe you don't need cash, but you need an active credit card. I didn't have one at that point. So it may be important that we equip ourselves so we're not exposed to, extreme torture, trauma that can destabilize us. But as for learning, we keep learning all the time. I had said I will not travel again, but truly I travel. I have continued to travel. I'm also encouraging people to travel because I'm a better person traveling. I know sometimes we encounter things that are not so pleasant like this one, but as per learning through them, you will learn. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I hope that in your travel, you don't ever encounter bad situation like this. Actually, it will be interesting to know who has encountered what, and let's learn together. Drop your comment in the comment box. Let's share our experiences and also share how we got through it, just like I did. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.